Today, I thought we would take a look at some skills involved with getting down to and up from the floor. So, with no further ado, getting down to the floor, and by all means, pad up your knees any way you want. It's just easier for you to see on this floor with me, and my knees don't hurt on the floor, so you do you. Use a cushion, use a yoga mat, use anything that you need to make the knees more comfortable. One of the skills that we don't often think about when getting down to and up from the floor is the ability to take some weight into our hands. So that's the first thing we're going to look at. So just pushing into the floor with straight elbows. Now there's a trick to the elbows. If I think of sending the soft inner eye of the elbow forward, that helps me keep my arms straight, which gives me a little bit more stability. So I'm rotating the soft inner eye of my elbow forward and then just pushing through the floor like I want to actually lower the floor by about an inch. Instead of letting my shoulder blades sink together like this, I'm going to broaden my shoulder blades on my back and keep them there no matter how hard I push. And I'm really pushing quite hard here. And then I'm just going to rest, maybe sit up, shake my wrists out a little bit. I'm going to try that a second time. Now, you can hold it for any amount of time here, but do hold it to length where you're beginning to feel somewhat challenged, like you couldn't really hold it for more than about 10-15 seconds longer. So this time, I'm going to start in exactly the same way, sending the soft inner eye of my elbow forward, pushing to broaden my shoulders on my back. This time I'm going to make sure that my toes are tucked under, because as I push really, really hard, I might find that I can actually lift my knees a little bit and begin to support my own weight. Maybe not for a long time, but I can just push a little bit and then drop my knees again, push a little bit more, drop my knees, push a little bit more, drop my knees. And again, I'm looking at maintaining this strong position in my shoulder instead of sinking and rising. So my hands and my shoulders are staying largely where they are. I'm just lifting and lowering my knees. And I might even be able to keep them lifted for some time here. So you do you. Maybe I need to come down for a little bit of a break, and then eventually I will decide that I've had enough of that. And maybe shake out my wrists again. So now, any way that's comfortable for me, I'm going to come to a side sit position like this. And now I'm going to access the same idea that I just did by pushing into the floor with a straight elbow. Now when I do this, I don't want to let my shoulder ride up to my ear. So if you think about it, this doesn't feel like a very comfortable position or a strong position to push from when I lift my hand. So that's not the position that I want to be in when I try to push through the floor. Instead, I want to keep my shoulder away from my ear, and I want to draw it back rather than compressing all of the tissues here by rounding it forward. So drawing it back, let's just try that a few times. Drawing back the shoulder, drawing back the shoulder. And now in this position, I'm just going to push into the palm of my hand, especially the heel of the palm. At the same time, I'm pushing through this opposite foot. So opposite hand to foot. And now I might push so hard through both the hand and the foot that I can lift my tail off the floor just a little bit, or maybe just lighten it. And I'm getting this idea of pushing into the floor, pushing into the floor and rising, pushing into the floor and rising. My other foot can be really anywhere at this point. It could be in front like this. It could be in front like that. I don't find that particularly comfortable, but some of you might. It's really just the opposite hand and foot that matter. And you can see as I get a little bit stronger and more confident in the position, I can even think of lifting that front leg. But don't rush there. You're looking at building strength over time. This might not come right away. In fact, if you haven't been doing it for a while, it probably won't. It's going to take a few weeks, maybe, to begin to build that strength back, but it's very important strength. So other side, again, let's practice rounding the shoulder forward and maybe even letting it come up and then pushing into that stronger, more stable starting position. Something that we don't often think about when we practice strength is the importance of finding stability first. So that's all I'm doing here is I'm finding stability, and then I can begin to push into opposite hand and foot. Maybe push a little bit harder, push a little bit harder, push a little bit harder, and then maybe lift my bum ever so slightly. Maybe not even lift, just lighten. Just lighten. And then maybe I can push so much that I lift completely off the floor. And you might notice something interesting happening here. My shoulder begins to migrate over my wrist, which puts me in an even more stable position. So instead of in this shearing position, where my body kind of wants to go over in this direction, I'm stacking my shoulder over my wrist, and that makes it easier. So my shoulder might start in this position, but it migrates over and back down. Okay, you might want to shake your wrists out a little bit after that one. So now let's begin to kind of put some of that together. So coming back to your hands and knees, pushing through the floor, now I'm going to lift one leg and turn my toes out toward my side wall. Now I'm going to push through opposite hand and foot and just slide my knee into this position. I'm going to push through both hands and come back through kneeling. I'm going to post again and slide. And once again, opposite hand and foot, pushing through both of them, coming back to kneeling, post, and slide. And again, pushing through opposite hand and foot, post, and slide. Now I can help this movement through the movement of my eyes and head. So here's a fun thing. The head and the tailbone move in opposite directions. So if I want my tailbone to go down, one of the things that can help is to simply look up. And now I want my tailbone to go up. So one of the interesting things that can happen is I just need to look down, and that begins to initiate the movement. So look up to go down, and look down to go up with the tailbone. Up to go down, and down to go up. Now you can see that you can do this either by pushing through both hands. Of course, the hand that's furthest away from the knee, that's going to take more of the load, but I can use some support here. Or I can begin to see if I can manage this just through opposite hand and foot. Maybe touching down lightly at first. So touching down lightly. Then maybe not touching at all. Coming back through center. And I'm really trying to stabilize here rather than falling to the floor. So try to make your descent, even if it's sliding, as low and as slow as possible. So you can see that I demonstrated two variations, one lifting and one sliding. You want to choose the variation where you can build strength by going slowly. And you'll probably want to shake your wrists out and take breaks as much as you want. This is very much a skill building and strength building exercise, which means that unlike cardio, you can take breaks. In fact, you should be taking breaks. So there you have the beginning of building some of the strength and awareness and stability and capacity to get down to and up from the floor with greater ease by using your hands. So for a good number of people, it's that they just don't have the upper body strength to support their weight as much as they need to perform some of the maneuvers that are necessary to get down to and up from the floor. So there's a nice little introduction and sequence that you can practice. All right, looking forward to moving with you again next time. Bye now.